What's going on? Welcome back to Sweat Equity. I'm your host, Eric Valdez, alongside Jules Johnson. All right. Freaking a
What's
lot of
up, y'all?
things freaking happened this past week. All right. RIP, Hulk Hogan. All right. For sure, that's the number one thing,
Bro, that's
alongside
crazy.
who else? Fucking Ozzy Osbourne died. Malcolm Jamal Warner, you know,
Man, I just saw this thing. So I just saw this thing, man, that they're saying that Michael Jamal Warner may not have been a drowning, it may have been a murder,
a murder. I'm
bro.
like, hey, I know it's too soon, and I know, y'all ain't the best swimmers. All
bro,
right, but
bro, that's
I,
crazy, bro.
at first, like, man, like that caught me off guard. I thought like it was gonna be like an OD case, these
Yeah,
child hurt actors and everything like that. But I was like, damn, it talk about OD, like, I'm surprised Ozzy lived that long. I mean, as much shit, and
bro.
I was looking at some interviews, man, in like they were like 2022, 2023, and he actually looked really healthy. You know what I mean?
But he was
Like
but he
that.
was old, bro.
Bro,
He was
I'm not, but for real, bro, I had to look at World Star, I had to look at ESPN, I had to look at WWE, had to look at every source before I freaking, bro. When I saw Hulk Hogan, all right, RIP, all right, let me pour one up. Bro, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, dang. And he was younger than freaking Ozzy. You know what I mean? I was like, I instantly turned to one of the dudes in my gym and I was like, Dad, what do you think is worse for your body? Cocaine or fucking steroids? And then he like turns into me, he's like, cocaine and steroids. I'm like, you know what? You are right. You
bro,
know what I mean? Bro, those were the days, bro.
bro,
Oh
well,
my God.
that's that cocaine steroid mix, bro, is no joke, bro, because I I know somebody
I
personally.
thought you might say I know.
Yeah, I know. I know somebody personally, bro. That mix broke their brain, and they're in a real bad. They've been in real bad shape for like a lot of years. But then I was also looking, and there was like a 34-year-old, um, what is it, the IBBF pro that just died of a heart condition the other day.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I did see
yeah,
that.
and it's and
Yeah.
you're seeing a lot more of these people that
But
are.
yeah, man, like, with those guys, and, because obviously when you start to do steroids, all right, if y'all didn't know, all right, so if you are doing this shit and going to Mexico and starting to stick your ass, with your own needles and shit like that, like, the shit thickens up your blood, all
Like
right?
big time.
Yeah. So, and across the board, every time like I see, people talking about this or guys that are on gear and talking about this stuff like that, like just make sure that you get your blood periodically checked, what I mean, like that. And I'm not no expert at all, what I mean, but freaking if anything, that's where the number one thing you want to be doing off the bat is just making sure like regularly you're getting your blood checked. So you're not having a brain aneurysm or fucking, you're just falling out,
Anytime you're doing
fucking PR.
like you're adding some of those, anytime you're adding anything like extreme extra into your body, trying to push your
Yeah.
body to extreme limits,
Your
like
body does not want it in there for a reason,
right,
and that's why
you
it
need to
regulates it automatically.
need to make sure that you make sure you check yourself out, bro, because that's super important. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Hulk Hogan, man, I saw a lot of the stuff. I was seeing a lot of stuff on him, and they were talking about how he had one of those intoxicated rants. He was going off and saying all kind of stuff, and
You look at him.
I kind of feel like the dude was still every little kid. I don't care what how old you were in. When you heard that, I am a real American. Like, like
Yeah.
we were all
For
little Hulkamaniacs.
yeah.
We were all
Just
little
want to rip
Hulkamaniacs,
shit
bro.
off,
Right?
what I
So,
mean?
no, man, bro, I can't,
Hey,
man. I'm sure my parents were pissed about the like stop ripping your shirt. I'm like, so yeah, but
I was like, if you had a white beater, the shit was coming
it
off
was
one
coming off,
way.
bro.
One way only. Fucking right down the middle.
Bro,
Right?
that really is nuts, man. But even um, so 2025, man, has taken a lot of like famous folks from us this year too, bro. Like it's been a
And
lot.
you say that, but then like you think about like 2024 and like it's like damn man, those guys died too. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and you know what, man? Now that we talk about this, it's crazy because I'm like, I like. Let me ask you this question, all right? Because
Okay.
you're older than me, all right? And freaking,
Fuck
but
is that?
but I want to know at what age, all right, and who was it where you're like, damn, I'm getting old.
Bro, so that's crazy because it was my niece.
Your
And
niece?
it was my niece, bro. Because
That
my
she passed
niece
away?
no, oh no, I didn't know about
Oh,
passed away. Because my niece turned
oh,
20. And when my niece turned
oh.
20, I was like, what? I was like,
She's
how do I have an adult niece?
the one that freaking was selling candles.
Yes, bro. Yes.
What? Oh,
Exactly. You're like, wait a minute, what just happened? Um,
she was. That's bro. She had like three businesses out of her room.
bro, hustling. Um,
Yes.
but then like, so I think we talked about this once before, bro, because I used to look at like when it comes down to like famous people, I
Hmm.
never really see the age of famous people. And I know that sounds weird, but I thought like I don't know if you remember George Burns, but he was a dude that played in Oh God, You Devil, right? And he was like he was
George Burns. It sounds real familiar.
hold on. I'm gonna show you his face. But he was a comedian, he's an actor, and dude was like mad famous, right? Dude was born um in 1946. Wait. No,
Hmm.
not 1946. In 1896.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So this dude played in a movie called Oh God, You Devil. Well, I see the movie, right? And when I see the movie, the dude looks like this in this picture. Like that's what he looks like, right?
Hmm.
So then I keep looking, I keep watching, and I'm like, this dude must really be God because he's old. He's old, and he was just old my like the entire life I knew. So I was like, as far as I know, this guy must be the one. Like he looked like an old man to me, which is
Yeah, I
weird
remember him.
because it's my my young brain is like this guy. So I never really see the. It's weird because I just never really see the age of like old people. I mean, of famous people like that.
Hmm.
Because they always kind of look, kind of look the same to me,
Well,
man.
okay. So my question is though, but okay, like talking about, you idolize these people as a child, and then now you're getting older, and then they pass away, and like that, you know. For
It,
me, like now, seeing Hulk Hogan die,
right.
now I'm like I'm starting to feel it. I'm like, who are my childhood idols that I came up watching and stuff like that?
Ah,
Like, oh,
yeah.
bro, hey, when the Rock goes.
Bro,
Oh, when John Claude Van Damme goes, when Sly goes,
bro.
all right,
Oh
when Tyson goes, who do you
man,
who do you think is gonna be the ones like, oh no, you outside Ricky, like.
bro. I don't even know, bro. I don't know, man. I can't even. To be honest, man, I can't even think of them. It just there's just so many man. There's just so many people because sometimes even like now, it's not even that they're dead, but it's seeing them, like Smokey Robinson, right? Famous R&B singer. But when you see him
Hmm.
on stage now, it's like, oh, damn.
Yeah, that dude's old. Like,
You're
bro,
like,
hey,
bro,
how about you just park it on the couch, watch some TV?
bro, turn on some Judge Judy.
He's not even singing no more, man. He just lip singing. It's
Bro,
so bad. I
yeah,
see.
yeah, you see it and you're like, God, am I really that old? Like, I
Yeah.
remember this dude when he was like singing and dancing and all that stuff. Like, and there's a lot of guys like that though, like
Mhm.
Genuine. Like
Oh,
I've seen Genuine lately.
bro, he's not moving the same way. All right.
So
Nah,
you know which
I
one of
don't
those is
know.
the funniest, bro?
Yeah. Now
Have
he
you seen a
riding a
new?
mechanical pony. It just too.
Have you seen the latest videos of the Yin Yang twins, bro?
Oh, bro, didn't hey man? It's not like they were the most healthiest, but bro, they
Bro,
look like on the cookout.
That one of them is one
Burning
of them looks
chicken.
terrible, bro. One of them looks
Bro,
terrible. It's like, oh
I was like, man, you need money that bad? It's like, man, it's
bro,
like,
just stop. Live off the royalties,
yeah,
man. I don't know, man.
yeah.
Yeah, get a regular job, something.
Mount Rushmore. All right.
Okay.
WWF. All right. Because I ain't going to say WWE. We knew what we grew up on.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Mount
yeah.
Rushmore. Who you got?
Bro. So, of course, Hulk Hogan. And because of Hulk Hogan, you had to have Macho Man Randy Savage, bro. That was like the beef, bro. Like
Okay.
until they became brothers. And then
Bro, I had like real bad juju after that after that post we had, but
bro,
we
I mean, it is what it is. JYD was my boy. Junkyard
mm-hmm.
Dog. JYD was my boy. And man, this is a good question because this was a duo, but I really, really, really was like I fucked heavy with the Heart Foundation, bro.
So which one?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, can I separate the Heart Foundation? Like they seem like one group to me.
Oh man.
Like they seem like one person to me. Which was the one with the dark hair? Bret Hart. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels was with the blonde.
Yeah. It's
and
Bret
Britt's
Hart.
the one that died, freaking falling off the off the cable in the top. You know what I mean? So
that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one, bro. Who you got on the Mount Rushmore?
Hulk Hogan. All right, and I'll go with like chronological order. All right,
Okay.
Hulk Hogan. All right, because he changed the game. You know what I mean? I like that. Freaking, after WrestleMania, he slams fucking Andre the Giant and he wins. Bro,
Crazy,
game was
bro.
changed though, like that. The dude was everywhere. You know what I mean? I even saw, and I didn't know this. Did you know that he was so famous, he made it into an episode of Dragon Ball Z?
What?
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna have to send you that one. That's crazy,
Bro,
isn't it? That's how famous he got. You know
wow.
what I mean? Dude was in what was it? Three Ninjas. Remember the Three Ninjas movie?
Okay, that was
He
a
was
good.
in Rocky. You know what I mean? Like, dude was everywhere after that. You know what I mean? He changed the game. He really did. He freaking pushed the needle so far forward for everybody else.
He
Like
was
that,
good in Rocky
you
too.
had to have him on there. All right, like that. After that, freaking, I got
Wow.
Ric Flair. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah,
The Nature Boy. Yeah.
Nature Boy.
The Nature
Like
yeah.
that. I'm real surprised that he's still freaking that it's crazy that dude outlived Hulk Hogan, you know what I mean? But they're 1 and 2, they were there, man. They're game changers in their own era, you know what I mean? Like that. So honestly, it'd be Ric Flair first because he was before Hulk Hogan, and he passed the torch down to Hulk Hogan, and then from Hulk Hogan, all right, Glass Breaks, Stone Cold, all right, Austin 316. You already know,
bro.
All right, motherfucker didn't give no fucks at all. You know what I mean?
Getting the beers thrown from the crowd.
Dude was drinking about like freaking 30 beers a night. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like that. He'll go backstage, come back out, drink another 30 beers, and then whoop your ass. What? You know what I mean?
Yes. And he's actually a good dude.
And then above all, freaking man, my favorite, like that, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, like that, like he's still doing his thing. You're talking about someone that just went from nothing to something, in the ring, and then took his fame from the ring, and then just fucking dudes everywhere now. Highest paid actor, everything like that, and then still coming back and and still fucking doing it and shit like that, like. I think when he goes, bro, I'm telling you, man. I remember as a little kid, there was like, yeah, you remember seeing like Booker T, and stuff like that. But like someone my color, because it was a little ways away down when Eddie, Eddie and freaking Rey Mysterio came up and stuff like that.
Mysterio Jr.
So Rock being that brown looking, in the middle, not black, but he's Samoan, like, and I didn't know that as a kid. Man, I wanted to just be like him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And fucking, I'm like, bro, he goes, I was like, I told myself, like, I've never been starstruck, but if that dude walked in the room, you know, freaking anywhere, and I saw him, bro, I'll turn into a little fucking girl. Oh, can I get your picture? Can I get your autograph? Everything, man. Like, yeah,
Yes,
like,
yeah,
bro, I'm
100%.
telling you, and shit like that.
Bro,
That's my
yeah.
Mount Northmore, man. You cannot talk me out of that whatsoever. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you know, but there's a lot of like, because when you look at it, like when you look back on wrestling in general, because you have the guys, because almost all of them had like like a like a like some sort of athletic background, right? Like
Oh,
I was watching something the other day on the Von Erichs, right? Which is like,
have you seen the movie,
bro, bro,
bro?
bro,
Hard to watch.
bro, it,
All right.
bro. That shit's intense, bro. That's
Like you better
big
watch it
time
alone
intense,
if you want to. If you don't want to be crying in front of people,
bro.
you know what I mean?
That is a majorly intense ordeal, bro. Um, but then you look at those guys and you look at their, like, how they came up, like how they got into wrestling, and you're like, man, these guys are super tough. And like in general, and one of the ones that like you kind of think about, because he had a lot of fame in professional wrestling, but his amateur wrestling, Kurt Angle, the Olympian,
Oh, bro.
bro,
You know, that dude,
serious
hands down,
neck
probably one
injury
of the
during the
most
Olympics,
athletic,
bro.
athletic freaking wrestlers, like WWE wrestlers,
Bro,
all
real
time.
wrestler, real
Yeah,
wrestler. I mean, we said
strength, mobility, athleticism, like that, and obviously just the mental fortitude, to like when he's going in these long freaking matches, to entertain people
right.
and stuff like that, freaking like,
Well, that's one of the things that
hands down.
we because we said it podcasts ago, episodes ago, bro. That was like wrestlers are like, in my
You're
mind,
not gonna have,
the supreme athlete.
yeah, you're not gonna have a more, you know, mentally strong, athlete than a wrestler.
Yeah,
All right, like there's not another sport out there, that demands so much from somebody, as for wrestling, and just to stay cool, calm, and collective the whole way through, when just the amount of pressure and stuff like that. Even being able to do boxing, kickboxing, jujitsu, all this stuff. Yeah, like I'm super biased when it comes to this because that's where my roots are for
right.
wrestling, and like those rooms, man, like. If you've ever been in a wrestling room, all right, and you're practicing about 2 to 3 hours, and getting ready for what? All for 6 minutes? You know what I mean?
Right.
It
Right.
really is. You're fucking killing each other, man, for 6 minutes,
But
like that,
but
and
but
you're winning at the narrowest margins. It's crazy. You know what
it's
I mean?
it's just the level that you have to be on to be a wrestler, man. It's just like, it's like none other, because it's strength, it's explosiveness, it's agility, it's like it's the ability to deal with with real pressure, like real pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was I was sitting on Instagram the other day, and I came across this woman, and she kind of did some studies, bro, and I think I shared one with you.
Yeah,
But
I peeped it a little bit like that, but yeah, I know you're talking about. Go ahead.
yeah, no, but it was just she calls it the it's the paradox of violence and mastery, bro. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like a 4-part series or whatever. And I'm pretty sure she's got a 4 or 5 part post, but I'm sure that it dives in much deeper, bro. But it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
have you seen any of it?
No, like I watched one of them, and I think it was like midway too. But now that you're saying that it's a 4-part series, then yeah, like I love to. I might have to go back and actually watch that.
So
Series.
I've got one of them. If you wanna
Yeah.
here, let me get you an intro, man, so that you can kind of so that we can kind of get into this a little bit. Oh, so let me get her up on the screen for us here.
Into something controlled, disciplined, and deeply respectful. Scientific research supports this. Studies published in Psychology of Sport and Exercise suggest that martial arts training helps develop better emotional regulation and self control, particularly in managing aggressive impulses outside the sport. And research by Lakes and Hoyt in 2004 found that martial arts training, especially with younger athletes, is linked to decreased aggression and stronger self discipline over time. And if you think about it, that makes sense, right? To truly master a martial art, you need patience, dedication, respect for tradition, and the humility to keep learning. And these values are at the core of many martial arts cultures, like the Japanese Bushido Code, which teaches respect, discipline, and self control. In BJJ, when you tap, when you're caught in a submission, it's not just a technical skill, it's a lesson in controlling your ego. That's not just training, that's character development. And this is why psychological research supports what martial artists have always believed. Mastering controlled aggression teaches you when not to use it. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's work on the flow state explains how fighters reach a calm, focused mindset under pressure, where violence becomes a last resort, not a first response. Physical techniques are just the beginning of this journey. The ultimate paradox is that a true martial artist doesn't train to win fights, they train so they don't have to fight at all. Something I can't stop thinking about with combat sports is how they
So that's just the oh wait. So that's just the lead in, right?
100%. I agree with all that. I mean, she like spot on. She hit the freaking nail right on the head, like that. The first thing that comes to my mind when just hearing that right there, is controlled aggression. Like that. It's something that I teach all. Like I used to teach all of my fighters. Anyone
Right.
that's everyone, like even from a white belt. What I mean? Because like you and I both know, being black belts.
Right.
All right, who is the most dangerous person on the mat? What I mean? And it's that white belt. They don't know their strength. They don't know their speed. They don't know any moves. They just know to attack. They're just, they're spazzes. That's what
Right.
it is. That's, everyone who's been in the fight game knows what a spaz is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that. And freaking, when you finally get to a point where things are clicking, what I mean? You might not have all the knowledge and experience and hours on the mat and everything like that. Little by little, what you start to develop is this controlled aggression.
Right.
All right. And for me, especially in a flow state, what I mean, like that, because for me, like, when it comes to like rolling, I have three different types of rolls. All
Right.
right. Everyone knows, that competition roll. All
Right.
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 100%. You're getting ready for a tournament like that. You're going to go in and you're going to work what your bread and butter, like that, and freaking and make sure to get the submission to tap, the win, like round by round, what I mean, and going through simulating what you're going to do in a tournament. All right. Then you have a flow row. All right. And how I explain to all my students, I'm like, in a flow row, all right, you should never have not one submission in this round. All right.
100%.
You're not rolling to submit. All right. You're rolling to put yourself in a good position, then give up that good position so you can put yourself in a bad position, just so you can get out of that bad position and put yourself back
Back in a
in a
good.
good position.
Right.
All right. It's literally a dance. All right. You give a little, you take a little. You're leading some. All right. You're being led. All right. You're flowing. All right. Like that. You should just look like tumbleweed. All right. Freaking in the freaking desert.
Right.
Just rolling. You know what I mean? Like effortlessly. All right. Like that. But then, that takes a little bit of confidence in your partner. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that. Me, you've been working for a while, and I know that I can go to Houston right now, freaking jump in on Saturday and just start flowing with you like nothing. And we just know that, okay, I see what he's working. I'm gonna give it to him.
Right.
All right, he got what he got. Now he's gonna let me work out and let me get something.
Right.
You know what I mean? But never at one time you should ever feel threatened.
Right.
All right, at all. That's what a flow is.
Right.
All right. Now the second one. The second one is a hybrid. All right. The second one is, freaking what you and I call our warm up rounds. All right. Like
Right.
that.
Right.
Okay. we're like, freaking like 1 or 2, 3 rounds in, we start with a white belt, then we work up to a blue belt, and then we probably start to get in, a little bit dicier with a purple belt,
Right.
like that, but catch and release.
Right.
All right. Like
Right.
that. We know we're very superior to them. All right. And we're just catching whatever we want, because they can't really do nothing, like that. Not to like freaking brag or like just bash anyone or anything
Right.
like that. It's not like you're naming out anybody. But the thing is like that's exactly what it is. All right. Like I'm gonna put you in a position. All right. I'm working. Let's say I want to work some single leg stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that. You're not gonna stop it. I know you're not gonna stop it.
Right.
So it gives me a chance that what you're aggressive, but I know I'm not threatened because you're how aggressive you are. I'm still gonna get whatever I want,
Right.
and I'm gonna get into a single legs. I'm gonna work my sweep. You know what I mean, and come up and maybe work my back take to choke. All right. And then guess what? I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna pull guard, or I'm gonna let you do whatever you want, thinking that
Right.
you're gonna get out and you're gonna get aggressive. And guess what? I'm gonna just do it again. I'm just catching and releasing. All
I'm
right,
gonna do
like
it all
that.
over again.
Those are my 3 things. You know what I mean? Do you have anything else to add on that?
Nah, bro, that's kind of the way, like that's the perfect way to describe it, bro. Because when I'm really working on something, like let's say I'm working on something new, right? I'm 200 pounds. I've always been a top player. I've been a top player since Metro, right? Because that's what Saul was. Saul was
Yeah.
like get on top ground and
Hey.
pound because we came from MMA, came from MMA to be on top, and so
Yeah.
the top players. So if I'm trying to work some guard stuff, I will, find a white belt, find a blue belt, because I know that you can't. I'm trying to perfect some stuff. Because I'm trying to perfect it, I know I'm good enough that your aggression is not going to mean anything to me. Like it's not going to matter to me, right? But I need your aggression because I need to figure out if what I'm trying to do works in a violent situation. But in that situation, and you're right, because the fresher the white belt, the more dangerous this guy is. Like a 1 week white belt is far more dangerous than a 3 month white belt, who is I mean he's far more dangerous because he has no
That
idea
dude
what's
is
going on.
a fucking baby cobra, you know what I mean? Ready
Right.
to unload
Right.
all
He has
his
no
venom
idea.
on
He's
you.
just like, hey, let's look at these. And you're like, whoa, settle down. But you need to use that. You need to be able to control them, and still be able to do what you need to do, which is great. But and flow is just you have to be able to flow because that's where you understand, that's where you learn, that's where you hone like your ability to deal with the storm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just going, you're just like, oh, there's a leg, I'm gonna grab that. Oh, there's an arm, I'm gonna grab that. But not to submit, just like, oh, here and now. It's just like those scrambling drills that wrestlers do, where someone will shoot and then they like they front flip over the person. Like it's just your body just gets accustomed to being in this constant state of movement, which is a really, really good thing.
So let me ask you this question: out of those three stages of of drilling and practicing and gaining experience that I just talked about right now, which one do you feel is the best? For longevity, as for experience and like staying on top or to get to the top. You know what I mean? To be the best. Like that.
I feel like it's the hybrid.
The catch and release.
I feel like it's the
and
hybrid.
Why?
Because in the flow roll, so in the competition roll, right? There's no quarter given. Like if I get to a good spot, you will not move. Like
gridlock. Like we're both fighting for the same position.
Nobody's gonna move, and so you don't get that. You don't
especially
get that.
if you're like 2 black belts. Like it's the most boringest thing ever. You know what I mean? You're probably in that position for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes before anything happens.
Jiu-jitsu is really a practitioner sport. Gi jiu-jitsu is definitely a practitioner sport. It's definitely a practitioner sport because there'll be like stalemates, and you're like, man, look at. Like nobody's going anywhere because he's got a grip on the sleeve. The other guy's got the grip on the pant. Nobody's moving, and you're like,
"Who's gonna break first?"
Right? Like, what is this? And then the flow roll. There's not necessarily the resistance, right? Because the person's kind of letting you do what you want to do. But when you get that hybrid state where, you know, the person's kind of going 50%, you get to feel what some of the you get to feel what that negative pressure is like. Somebody's pushing against you. They're not necessarily giving you what you want. They're just not trying all out to keep you from getting there. That's when you start to learn, you know, you try to move them and you get to see what their natural reaction is, and then you start to be able to process, oh, this is the way this person react, and this is how I need to react. And that's where you start to really build your speed up. So like this week, I've been teaching a lot of classes at the school this week. And one of the things that I do when we drill is I don't drill a technique. I don't drill a knee cut, right? Because drilling a knee cut is cool, but it makes you go, I'm going to do this and then stop, right? So what I drill is a takedown to a guard pass to a submission. So I drill an entire sequence. So you get that muscle memory. Your body doesn't, I mean, you remember, you hit the cage and someone pins you against the cage, and you know, they do the stake down the knees and then they stop there and they don't finish the takedown. When you get into a live fight, you grapevine the legs and then you stop and then you freeze. You're like, this is as far as I went in training, and that's not. So that's not the way to do it. So I like the hybrid.
But so let me play devil's advocate. You know what I mean? Because I like the hybrid. I really do like the hybrid. You know what I mean? But the thing about with the hybrid for me, I feel it only benefits me. All right.
Okay.
Because I'm the only one working. All right. The other guy's not working. He thinks he's working, but he's not working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's nothing really connecting, you know, move sets or sequence. You know what I mean? As for me, all right, I'm letting you work just enough so I can get into a position where I'm going to start to work back
Right.
in my sequence or in connections of movement. You know what I mean?
Right.
And stuff like that. And so freaking for me, I feel that a flow state is is more beneficial for both parties. All right, because let's think about what jujitsu is now. You know what I mean? It's forever evolving. It really is. You know what I mean? Like that. And the thing about it is that like it for imagination and creativity and stuff like that. If you're very rigid, you know, just doing drills and stuff like that, that's it. That, you know, that's your bread and butter. You're never gonna freaking really go out of that, you know, state. And like, if you're fucking really good at it, then, you know, good for you. You know what I mean? Because the thing about that is that, like, yeah, there's what, 1%ers that freaking, hey, the bolo's their game, or a takedown's their game, or a knee cut is their game, and you know it's coming, you just can't fucking stop it, right?
Right.
You know, like that. But then what happens when freaking an immovable object meets a freaking
Unstoppable force
and an unstoppable force? Well, what are you gonna do then? You know what I mean? Now you have to have a plan B or a plan C, you know what I mean, to make sure that, you know, to overcome those obstacles and things like that. And how I always freaking explain to any newbie or beginner or someone like really getting into it, especially at a blue belt, you know what I mean? Because at a blue belt, you can agree that at a blue belt, you know everything at a blue belt.
You're
You
pretty
just
much
don't have time,
right.
you know, on the mat and experience, you know, like that. Like, as for knowledge wise and moveset, like, yeah, you already have covered freaking a massive amount, you know, of what you're gonna be learning. Now
Right.
at that point, it's just throwing shit out, right?
Right.
And so how I always explain it to people is like, is all right, right now you're still at the beginning of your journey, and your journey is you going through a forest. All right. Like that. It's a fucking big ass forest. There's many different routes in this forest. And your only job is to get on the other side of, you know, to clear this forest. All right. And so as you're going through this forest, you're digging ruts, you know what I mean, like that, and creating routes like that, because of just repetition of you just
Right.
going that one way. All right. But every once in a while, because again, like we just said, you know what I mean, you know, you're gonna have an immovable object, all right, that meets in a freaking what you say, an
Unstoppable
immovable
force.
an unstoppable force, all right. And then you're gonna have to have that plan A and plan C, all right? Because maybe I'm the freaking, you know, the single X guy, all
Right.
right, like that, you know, and no one can stop my single X. But then I finally freaking meet you, that you're just a heavy person on top. You're freaking smashing my legs, all right. Well, then now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to get my hips out. I'm
Right.
gonna have to start to roll, all right. Maybe I go to my brim and bolos, all right. maybe I freaking kick that far side leg up and I start to go my roll ups. You see what I mean?
Right.
Like that. That's not my bread and butter, but I had to have those things in there. And then you just need to know, all right, that creativity side of like in a flow state, what do I have to go to? What I feel comfortable flowing straight into, all right, to continue the roll, all right, so it doesn't stop my momentum and things like that, you know what I mean? But at the same time, both people work because we're always just giving and taking and we're dancing. And I feel that, when you're really truly working with a partner that is doing those things, all right, like, man, like you just progress so fast because then again, it goes back to what you were saying about, just that speed, all right, that muscle memory, picking up those things because freaking, tell me one time, all right, that you went in a tournament and everything went according to plan, exactly what you wanted to do. You're
Bro.
gonna grab the lapel, you're gonna go outside seat, sweep, all right, freaking dump it right into freaking into headquarters, like that. Go knee cut, freaking right to neon belly to mount to the armbar.
Right.
You know what I mean? No, it never happens, bro. Like shit, like you have to be ready for those things. All
So,
right.
bro, so you said something, and this is kind of weird, but you talked about how the game is ever evolving, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna brag on this kid, this one of the kids that we train with. I'm gonna show you something. There's a kid that we train with, bro, and he had a really good match. Pan Kids was his past weekend, the biggest tournament.
What's his name? Go ahead, shout him out.
His name is Elias, bro. Elias Kim.
Elias?
Yeah, Kim. Kid's great. But look at this, bro. I want you to look at this. Remember, I want you to remember. Let's think. Just remember when you started jiu-jitsu. Okay.
I was 23, 24.
But remember what jiu-jitsu looked like when you started it. Okay.
Horrible. I was just straight wrestling. That's all it was.
Hold on. Okay.
Hated being on my back.
bro. I just want you to check this out. Just look at this. Look at this. This is
Black or white? Which one? I'm guessing
he's
the one
black,
in black.
the one in black.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, but wait. But just look at the whole match. Look at everything that's going on, bro. Because this is his finals, right? He lost in the finals. He lost the final.
What with that Superman freaking sweep?
Bro, look at the proficiency of these kids, bro, at yellow belt. Kid's 12 years old. If that.
All right, I got something to say about that. Let me keep watching. I got something to say about that. Man, went threw up the triangle, missed it. Trying to retain guard right now. Got some good grips. Constantly finding new grips every single time. That's one thing I know for a fact that Pablo always teaches. All right, you always need to be finding your next grip. You know what? I did see this match, and you know what? Freaking. You know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. Hey, you know what? The guy in the white was playing catch up the whole fucking match. All right, and they're kids. All right, it's some wild. It's just back and forth. I hated always freaking reffing kid for kids because like the points were just crazy. You know what I mean? There were just so many points going left and right. You know what I mean, like that. But I strictly remember that in that match. I remember seeing it.
Right.
And that kid in the white was constantly playing catch up.
Right.
And freaking Elias, he made a mistake. You know what I mean? And freaking. He ended up. Was it like he was trying to do a back step and then just gave up his back, and then freaking the dude came up, rolled up, and then freaking the armbar.
Yeah,
it was something like that. Like man, like I saw what he was doing, and he was just like just 1 second too late to really come up and roll up to get the sweep, and ended up freaking getting tapped out with the armbar. I remember seeing that, but
bro, those kids, they're so. But it's just like you look at when you talk about the evolution of the game, bro.
Mm-hmm.
When we started, we weren't rolling like that, bro. No,
I had no clues what a fucking grip was. Bro, you know what I mean? Like that.
Not rolling like that, bro, at all. And and this is where these kids not starting, but bro, by the time these kids reach black belt, bro, it's gonna be it's gonna be a nightmare. But
and I'm happy you just said that because that just reminded me. You know what I mean? Because like this is the thing about what I love so much about jiu-jitsu. All right, because when you see a kid, all right, and how many kids all right, that are below 18 in jiu-jitsu have you ever seen as a black belt?
Below 18, like under the age of 18. I've
Under
never.
the age of 18, like that. What about Mika? Because wasn't he the youngest?
I,
Was he at
did-
18?
was he 18 or 17? He may have been 17 when he got his black belt.
That's probably the only
I
one that
think he may
I
have been
know of.
17 when he
It's
got his
probably the
black belt.
only one right now that I can recall,
I think
either
he.
at 18 or younger than 18, that was a black belt. All right, and not to shit on karate or taekwondo or these other. How many times have you ever seen a fucking kid under 18 as a black belt?
Bro, they've got 7-year-old black belts in fucking taekwondo, bro. Seven.
Okay, all
Seven.
right. What are their chances against a kid like Elias? You know what I mean? And I don't want to be like that. I'm not trying to shit on that, but the thing is, this is why I love jujitsu so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because when that kid, all right, as a yellow belt, you know what I mean, instantly as an instructor, as a coach, you know, as a business owner, you know, that owning his own gym, that automatically tells me that that kid has been training anywhere between 3 to 4 years. You know what I mean?
Bro, easily.
And not only just training, but freaking combat proven. All right. He's been in the trenches freaking doing week in, week out of freaking tournaments to get to that level. He's at Pans. You know what I mean? This is Pans.
Yep.
All right. For the kids, you know what I mean? In the finals. Moving like that, you know, and like just the knowledge that they're retaining and how fast they're moving and stuff like that. It's just fucking scary to know that shit. You know what I mean? Thank God I'm a fucking master too. You know?
Well, so
You know,
so
yeah, for
Micah
sure.
is the youngest at 7. He was the youngest at 17,
Yeah,
which
you
makes
know, freaking. I
total
knew he
sense.
was there. He was like right on the border or something like that. Like obviously he made
Because
history.
that was kind of the beef when he got promoted. But then here's the other thing though. When you look at Elias and
Mhm.
that match that we just watched, right? And you listen back to what the lady was talking about the paradox of violence and mastery. Those kids' faces, bro, they were calm. They were chill. They were
I'm
in
happy you just came back to this.
they
Yeah.
were a in a state that would make most regular people completely out of, like, they'd be
How
completely
old
out
is
of their
he?
gourd. 12 or 13? Maybe no,
And then,
maybe
see that,
like
that
maybe
that's
11 or
why
12.
that's why
Don't get
it's
me lying
very
on that.
scary. That's
Bro,
why it's very scary. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about, okay, let's fast forward. All right. Now he's 20. He's 21, 22. All right. Like God knows how many tournaments that kid, how many matches that kid has fought, you know, freaking to get there. You know, and I'm pretty sure at this point he's already a black boy, a black belt. You know what I mean?
right.
Like that.
I doubt he's black, but yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, he's got more hours on the mat than a
Yeah.
lot of black belts.
No. Yeah. You know what I mean? And freaking the amount of character that has been building through the time, you know what I mean, for this kid to make timely, effective decisions, freaking in the split second, all right, like that, and then be in full control, all right. You know, like there's no other sports, you know, like well, sports itself, you know, freaking, you know, overall. You know, but especially like grappling sports, you know, that demand so much, you know, from you, you know, like there's nothing else I can imagine that really develops you as a person. You know what I mean? Not on the mat. I'm talking about outside the mat. You know what I
Right.
mean? And how you carry those things. This was what I love so much about this sport. You know what I mean? Or like any type of nitty gritty sport. You know what I mean? Whether it's boxing or Muay Thai or going back to wrestling. You know, and things like that. Because you know the amount of characteristic, you know, traits and development that you go through. You know, especially as a child, all the way to your adult stage. You like that, like if you are in an office setting or you're freaking, you know, you know, whatever setting you are for your profession, like, you know, like there's nothing that can really phase you
Right.
because you've been in worse. You know what I mean?
That,
I'm like,
that's what, like, and that's one of the reasons why when I was listening to her talk about that series, like, it's one of the things that I tell people. I tell people that about like combat veterans. I tell, like, when you've been in a situation where even though it's a jiu-jitsu tournament and people aren't trying to hurt you, like, you get an armbar snapped on fast, your arm could snap.
oh, of course.
Like it could snap. So even though they're not trying to hurt you, like you could get hurt pretty badly.
Yeah.
When you're in a situation where you can get hurt badly and you can be calm, when somebody's in a situation and there's no threat to me at all, like there's no threat to life or limb, like like why why do you think that my cortisol levels are going to go up? Like I'm not going to be stressed out about this because nobody's trying to
Mhm.
hurt me. Because that primal I have to
Instinct.
defend myself.
Mhm.
That primal instinct, it doesn't kick in because I'm not in danger.
You've been there.
I've
You've
been
been
there.
there.
And then
You've been there with people that are also there with you.
right.
Now you're there with someone that has no clue. You know what I mean?
It-
And this is one of my favorite questions I love asking to my students, especially females. All right, like that, because the thing about it is like, I asked them like, okay, let's think about if you went to a party, all right, and you didn't know anybody, all right, how uncomfortable would you feel? And they're like, oh man, 10 being the worst of, freaking
Right.
uncomfortability. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm at a 10. All right. Now they train, freaking, they're like down the road about 4 to 6 months in. It's not that much. You don't think that it's that much, right?
Right.
4 to 6 months. But then I asked that question again, and I'm like, hey, let's go back to that question I asked you in the beginning. All right. Now you're at that same party, you don't know nobody, and you have this type of knowledge, all right? And it's a little bit more than the average bear. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you're not like this fucking superstar getting ready for a championship belt or nothing like that.
Right.
Man, it just drops so low. You know what I mean? They're at like a 2 or a 3 because they're starting to really understand. You know what I mean? Like that because they're doing it. You know what I mean? They've been in those stressful situations. All right, those repetitive stressful situations where they're cold, calm, and collective. All right, and it was way worse. And they understand. Like they're prepared. They're ready.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? I like that. And it's one of my favorite things, you know what I mean? Especially coming from the Marine Corps, like that is you prepare for the worst, but you hope for the what? The best.
Hope for the
All
best,
right?
bro. Hope for
Like
the
that.
best. Always.
But because you're always preparing and you're ready. I don't know what you're ready for. And I tell them that too. I don't know what you're ready for, but I bet you're gonna be ready.
Right.
All right, like that. You know what I mean?
But that's also the
Yeah.
reason why, like she was saying, when you learn the combat sports, the combat guys don't go out and look for fights. 2 reasons. We used to go all the time to watch UFC fights, and there would
Yeah.
always be this, that group of guys that were like, man, I would, and you're like,
Drunk,
you're like,
talking
okay,
shit.
and you're just kind of like, okay, bro, you would, and you just
Yeah.
kind of leave it because once you know what you can do to somebody, right? You really don't have the desire to do it to anybody. I don't
Yeah.
I don't have the ego. Like I don't need to do any of this to you. And really the reason that I'm walking away while you call me a little bitch is I'm
Yeah.
really protecting you, bro. Like I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I am a
protecting
bitch.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm protecting you 100%. And people just, and people will say, man, I bet if this happened, you would just, and I'm like, if that happened, I would just walk away. Like you're gonna back me into an absolute corner before I do anything to you because
Yeah.
it could go really really bad. And I
Yeah.
was watching
mentally, I have a line, in my head that once you cross it, you
right,
know what I mean?
right,
And that's
right,
for me or my loved ones.
right,
But honestly, like I'm just so scared just for the legality reasons of what might happen to me.
right.
All right. If I have a DA like you across the freaking the room, hey, this dude is a trained killer for 4 years in the Marine Corps. All right, he's a professional fighter. He operates armed combats and unarmed combats and all this stuff. And
Right.
you're just throwing the book at me. Why? Because you mouthed off to me, and then now I'm just putting you back in your place. That's why I'm scared. All right, because I know what could happen.
Right,
I
right,
know
right.
what can happen. All right, and I think it's the craziest. I love watching people's expressions. You know what I mean? When they know who I am and they know my background and stuff like that for the military and fighting and training and stuff like that, and they're like, "Hey, how many fights have you ever been in?" Like in the streets and stuff. I'm like, 0.
No.
Never one time I've ever been in the fight because I know
Right.
like that just for everything for the reason that you just said right now. It's just because I know, you know what I mean? Like that. I know what can happen. I know it's not good for you. All right. And because the amount of discipline that I've developed over freaking, 15 years now, even
Right.
more because let's go back to 8th grade, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like 2000 freaking 3, You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, you know, like since I've been starting wrestling, like I just know, like, you know what I mean? Freaking, that's how much freaking character traits and development and discipline and everything that has been embodied in me. Like, I know more than you. There's nothing that you can do to me, but I promise you, if you take one more step and threaten me and whoever I'm with and my loved ones, like, yeah,
It's
it's
gonna be
over
a
for you. I'm
problem.
sorry.
It's gonna be a
You know what I
problem.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that. But, you know, okay, officer, you know what I mean? It's just self defense. Here you go. Take him. Sorry for the broken arm, whatever.
It-
You know,
but
it is what it is. You know what I mean?
people just don't understand like that extreme level of humility that comes with martial arts and stuff. And I've seen a couple of, I think Jordan Peterson said it once, and I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I know a lot of people aren't
Yeah, yeah. I love
because
everything that he
he says
says.
some pretty wild stuff. He can, but I was looking at something and they were like, you can't call yourself a peaceful man if you're not capable of great violence.
No, I've heard that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
like
yeah.
you're not peaceful. You're harmless. Right. Like
Mhm.
if you can't do anything, that's not being peaceful. Like you're not a threat. Which is like kind of like what she was saying. Once you learn the to be calm in the storm, once you learn how to deal with the threat levels and you do all this stuff and you've mastered how to your body and you've mastered how to be violent, that's when you become truly peaceful because
Mhm.
now I'm not seeking out violence, right?
Mhm.
I'm trying to calm the situation. I want there to be peace because I know that this can go really left, right?
Yeah,
And
you know what it takes. You know what I mean? For sure.
that's why
Like
and
that.
that's this I really do like the training for combat sports for kids. Um we had the one girl at 365 whose name was we went to her quinceanera and her name was she was tall. She was tall Hispanic girl. She used to come with her dad, who was an older white guy. Um,
Yeah, and we builded her up. Why can I not freaking
yeah, I cannot remember her name, but
Mhm.
she was so shy when she first started.
Yeah, she loved it. You know what
Super,
I mean?
and then she just got like she got into it, and then she was
Mhm.
like, "Oh man, what is her name? I cannot remember her
Yeah,
name."
I'm gonna have to come back to that one, you know, for
But
sure.
when you see that, like just that, you know, she got gray belt, I think, but
Yeah. Mhm.
but her level, you could just see the level of confidence and the level that just came from combat sports. You watched
Mhm.
her confidence level grow day by day, and that's such a so now when she goes out and she's probably in high school now, but her transition from elementary school to middle school was probably a lot harder than her transition from middle school to high school because she had
Yeah.
been on the mat with her, and that's
Mhm.
like it's just anyway.
No,
I like it.
I love seeing that, you know, for sure. You know, and like for me, you know, when you humble yourself and you know how to master those things and things like that, like I always tell people all the time, is like, you know, you don't ever have to be worried about the loud person in the room. And you know this.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
that one that's in the corner quiet,
Super
watching,
quiet
you know what I mean, soaking everything in, you know what I mean? Because
because
yeah, they know something. They know something you don't know.
that guy has the plan. He's got a contingency plan.
He's been planning this since the second he walked into that party because he doesn't know nobody.
Right.
You know what I
He's got
mean?
a
And it's
contingency
not because he's
plan.
paranoid.
Right.
It's just because he just, you know, that's what he's been, you know, forged into knowing and learning and stuff.
Right.
You know, for sure.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
that's what's up, man. That's what's up.
No, no, this was a great topic, for sure. And I mean, that was only the first one, right? I love to
Yeah.
freaking go back and watch, you know, 2, 3, and 4, like that.
And I love that it's
Um,
science backed. Like it's backed. Like it's just not a woman
Yeah,
talking. She's
with the
got
studies,
yeah,
everything
yeah.
like that, and 100%, you know, wholeheartedly, you know, I agree with everything that she's saying, like that, and you know, obviously it's in our wheelhouse, and you know, we can really speak onto this and things like that. So I love to go back and continue talking about these subjects, you know, down the road, you know, like that. But anything else, man?
You know, not really, bro. I'm just I, I'm I I'm hot and it's 105 degrees every day. And I gotta go outside on this damn attack bike and I'm dying because it's hot.
Hey, I'm gonna be right outside your house in that freaking paletero freaking truck, you know, selling you some ice creams, like I told you last time. All right.
bro.
Hey, matter of fact, hey, real quick, because let's go back to last episode, man, before we sign off. All right.
All right.
Top 10. Um, and hopefully I saved this. Let me see. I want to say I had a screenshot.
A screenshot.
Nah, I didn't do it. All right. Freaking because I wanted to go back in top 10 freaking baby boomer business small business owned things that you can be in the market for if you wanted to take over
Okay,
those things.
okay.
I like that. I'm gonna have to come back to that next episode for sure, like that. Other than that, guys, all right. If you freaking like what you're hearing, all right, and the topics that we're talking about, hit that like and that subscribe button for sure. All right, like that. Give us support. It costs nothing at all, to support what we're doing. For sure. Leave a comment on anything that you do want to hear us talk about for sure. All right. I'm your host, Eric Valdez, alongside Jules Johnson, guys. All right. Until next time, all right, we'll see you then.
All right, man.